Hi everyone. So on this video, we're going to just do a really quick overview of understanding charts and uh, reports or data visualizations, they're called in Platform Analytics. So I've just got a test dashboard set up here as a blank canvas. And what we're just going to do is go through some of the data visualization options, explain kind of the most prominent ones that I've used, and then just use this as a bit of an idea sparking so that you can really go and play around with stuff yourself and just play around with the data and the different types of reports. But this just gives you a bit of an inspiration. So in the top right corner, I've clicked on add new element and we're going to go on click data visualization. So if we've created separate ones, we'd be able to do this, and we'll show you on creating these reports out on a separate report. Separate video. I will keep saying this because reports are on my mind for this series. So if we click on new visualization, and I'm going to expand this just so that we've got full screen. And by default, it sets it as a single score visualization type. So one of the things that is the hardest and the biggest barrier to starting off in platform analytics and historically in reports is around data sources. So it's actually a lot easier than it used to be. So we're going to focus on finance cases today. So if I click on add data source, it's going to come up with some suggestions. This is based on kind of what I've used in the past. We're only really going to look at tables, but even if we were to, even if we weren't going to use one of these suggested ones, it's a lot easier than it used to be in ServiceNow. You used to have to know the exact table name, so you can start to see these ones here with the evaluation underscore parameter, for example. But now we can just search for it. So I'll just prove it by looking for finance case. And it's going to bring this up. So you've got the finance case and the finance case line. So you need to know a little bit about what you're looking for. But that's typically you'll be able to see that from your workspace when you're in there and working on those different case types. So I'm going to click on finance case, and then we could add some conditions. So what a lot of the time I like to do is click on active and true. So that's just all of your active finance cases. And we're going to add this. So this becomes your data source for everything. So for this report, so that single score, it's as simple as that. It's a single score. So this is the account of the total number of active finance cases. So if we start to scroll through, we'll do a separate one specifically on time series at a later date. But yeah, we've got a number of different visualizations here. So you've got scores. So if I was to do gauge, for example, it gives you these different kind of single score visualizations. And then if we go into, let's go for a vertical bar graph. And when you select these different things, it's going to give you kind of different options. So it's going to maintain the same data source. It's going to do a count of, it's still going to have a count of the finance cases, but for the columns, to actually put something on the bottom here, we are going to effectively have to group by. So if we edit this, and another good one to show this is state. We are going to apply this. And what that has done is that it is grouped the columns by the state. Quite obvious. I'm going to make some obvious statements I always do on my videos. And yeah, a really, really nice visualization has come up automatically with only a couple of clicks, and as I've shown on other videos, we could interact with this legend. I will go into more kind of personalization on the reports on a later video. So we've got bar charts. So if we were to look at some of these other ones, horizontal bar, Pareto, if I click onto pie chart, the lucky thing is that this is also something that is reliant on a group by, so we can still group it by state. And then if we move down as we go, this is a really cool one. So heat maps are kind of another dimension, I suppose, in terms of that reporting. So we can show, let's think of a good example. So we could say state, and then we could also say by let's say by type, so case type. So we can see here on the bottom, we've got the different case types. On the left is the state, and then we've got this this legend at the bottom. So the darker the color of blue, the higher the number. So the most cases we've got is, well, annoyingly for the data side of things, is work in progress and empty, and then your a little bit less is empty and draft. But again, it's just a slightly different way of looking at this. So things like incidents in IT, where you can see what are the different the different priorities against services, for example. You're able to just see that in a little bit more of a visual way. And you can do the same with bubbles and pivot tables, with this kind of multi-dimensional charts. And then before I get on to some of the more funky ones, a list view is still really powerful. Typically, you're still going to be utilizing this within workspaces, your lists, but sometimes when you're setting up a dashboard, you might want to embed a list within there as well, just for like a pre-filtered list, to show the most critical priority cases, for example. So that can still be quite powerful, and you can embed them within your dashboards. And then I won't look at calendar report right now, but that will present you with an interactive calendar, and it's obviously driven by the dates that within it. Could be due dates, so a due date on a procurement case, for example, so you can see, okay, what cases are due, and again applying filters, whether it's priority, whether it's state, so that you can see it in a timeline view. But just because I'm a nerd, this is actually one of my favorite ones. So we'll click on GeoMap. So this is really cool as a visualization, but the one caveat I will say is that this is driven by, more than anything, any other visualization, is by your data. So what I'll show here is that location data is typically really poorly done on instances, I think it's safe to say. But if it's good, then you can show some of this really cool stuff. So I just set some demo data up before. So I'm going to edit the group by. So one of the things, and again, we'll touch on this on a more deep dive of how to create specific reports, and like really drill down into some of the configuration options. But if we go down to requested by, and anywhere where you see this little arrow, and you click on it, this goes onto the related table. So the requested by is a user, and by clicking on this, we're going on to the user fields. It's called dot walking in ServiceNow. So we could click on that, and then we can see what are the fields against that user. So by clicking on the location here, we're actually saying to group by the location on the user record of the requested by against that on that case. So if I click on this and I click on apply, you'll see that 29 cases have been requested by users that were based in America. You can then go further into here. So if I was to go United States of America, and I think we don't want to, if I'm correct, I think the demo data is in Florida. We can see here, I think think it should be in here. But yeah, we're able to change these maps. These are all just out of the box ones. And you can set up some if you've got kind of the right files. But as you can see, there's different maps that you could do based off your geography as well. So yeah, we've got there's some really cool stuff that you can do. If I was to save this and exit the editing mode, you can again then drill down into here, and actually you can see in the state of Florida you've got 29 in Orlando. So it's just a nice little thing if you can get your data right, and being able to show this kind of visualization just becomes super powerful. So yeah, quick whistle stop tour on data visualizations. So yeah, thank you very much for listening, and on the next one we will be looking at creating those reports and just some of the personalization that goes along with it. Brilliant, thank you.
Thanks for watching The Process Play.